What's up? So today we're coming to you from Maple Leaf, Washington. So Maple Leaf is a great little neighborhood in the north end of Seattle. This is right off I-5. You're about 12 minutes from downtown. It's right next to Green Lake, Northgate, Roosevelt, Ravenna. So centrally located. This is a great spot. We're going to be walking around the neighborhood today, taking a look at some houses. Some of the stuff you're going to see around here is you're going to see, 1920s, 1930s houses, Craftsman-style, Seattle-style bungalows. It's a great little spot. Anytime I'm in Maple Leaf, I'm going to stop by Javasti and get a nice little cup of coffee. So buckle up, let's go. So if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know about the good, the bad, the ugly about living, working, eating, and drinking in Seattle and neighborhoods like Maple Leaf, then you're in the right place. My name's Aaron Wilder, and I get calls every day from people just like you that are wanting to make the move to Seattle. If you're thinking about making the move today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. We'll be happy to help make your Seattle move nice and smooth. Okay, so right now we're coming at you from Maple Leaf Park, right in the center of Maple Leaf. This is a spot that a lot of locals are going to come and walk their dogs, go for a little jog. We got basketball courts, we got a pickleball court. You can see behind me downtown Seattle. That looks like it's kind of far away, but that's really about a 12-minute drive and no traffic, less than 25 if you're sitting in traffic. And if you like the Link light rail, there's a light rail station about a half mile from here. That'll get you downtown in less than 20 minutes. So real key location. This is also one of the highest spots in Seattle, elevation-wise. If you look over here, you can see we got the Cascade Mountain Range. So there's not much snow on those right now. It's starting to warm up. The snow's starting to melt. But that's, that is several hundred miles away. So you got this massive mountain range. Panoramic views up here. We're at the park. We also over here, we got the barbecue pits, picnic benches. Over on the other side, you got the basketball courts, the pickleball, and then you got all these houses that surround the park. These houses are going to be pretty pricey. They got the panoramic views off the back. They got the mountain views, and a lot of that stuff up there at that highest point of Seattle is going to be the top end of this market in Maple Leaf, and that's going to be like $2 million over there. The price range in this neighborhood is going to be between 7 and like 2.5 for a brand new construction. Or you can get a condo for something in the 500s. Anyways, this is a great spot. We're right off Roosevelt Avenue. If we walk out here, which we'll show you some footage in a minute, we got the Macrina Bakery. They got some really good baked goods. Nice spot for the locals to pick up coffee. We also got the Reservoir Tavern, aka the Res. That place has been there since before I was born. That's a tavern. You can go in and get a couple beers, get some drinks, play some pool, hang out with the neighborhood people. So this is kind of a typical Seattle neighborhood, especially typical for Maple Leaf. We got the tree-lined streets. We got the 20s, 30s, 40s, Craftsman-style Seattle bungalow homes. One thing you guys might notice is that the streets are kind of narrow. Not a lot of people have driveways or garages here. So Seattle is pretty known for street parking. This is an older neighborhood, so you're not going to have big wide streets. If you're used to that suburban living, this might not be the neighborhood for you. There's other neighborhoods that are going to have that type of amenities, but Maple Leaf's not the one. But if you like that Seattle vibe with the tree-lined streets, walkable area, you got the coffee shop, the bakery, the park, people walking their dogs, all the things that Seattle's kind of known for, then this is a key spot. Also, in a way, this is superior to some of the other really popular Seattle neighborhoods like Fremont, Wallingford, those neighborhoods. Little older houses, going to be a little more expensive. This is a little slightly farther out, but more bang for the buck. Hey, so we're coming up on our first house right here. This is Maple Leaf neighborhood, house number 1. So this here is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, about 1,700 square feet. This one is listed for $945,000. It's $945,000. Been on the market for about 2 weeks, so potentially slightly overpriced. There's not a lot of listings in this neighborhood, so when things come up, they're going to sell quickly. Right now, in this whole neighborhood, there's thousands of homes, and there's only 3 or 4 things for sale. This happens to be one of them. We're not going inside today, but this looks like a pretty nice little house here. So this is kind of a typical house in this neighborhood. This would be, mid-range for this area. This isn't a starter home, but it's also not something that's completely remodeled, redone. There are some of those around here, but this is, if you're living in Maple Leaf, this is slightly below the average price, which is about $1.1 million. So this house is a Craftsman-style, not officially, but a lot of people in Seattle are going to consider this a Craftsman. When I look at the listing, they're calling this the Craftsman. I would describe this more as a Seattle bungalow. It's got wood siding, shingle roof. This is very, very typical of a Seattle home. So, people are surprised when they come here. They're not necessarily surprised by the prices, but sometimes they're surprised by the house that you get for the price, right? But really, the main thing that's the driver here is this is a really popular, desirable neighborhood. The schools are really good. According to greatschools.org, the high schools are 8 or 9 out of 10. The elementary schools are 8 or 9 out of 10. So this is a very desirable area for people with young families, people that are moving to the area. They're going to want to definitely check out Maple Leaf. All right, still in Maple Leaf, checking out the next house. Once again, quintessential Seattle neighborhood, tree-lined streets. We got people walking around. It's a beautiful day. It's about 62 degrees. The next house we're going to check out is a little different than what we just looked at. We're coming up on some new construction here. These are going to be townhouse style, so not quite as big, but brand new, modern amenities, everything you could want. The footprint's going to be a little smaller, and here we go. So you're going to see a lot of these houses around town. What they're doing is they're buying up old houses on big lots. They're tearing them down, and then they're building these brand new houses. Density is a big deal for Seattle planning. So we got a lot of people. We don't have enough places to live. So it's going to be really common to see old houses getting demolished, new houses coming up. And instead of one house, you got 4 houses. So these units have some interesting features right here. There's 5 units. This used to be one house. They tore it down, put in 5 units. Instead of building wide, they built up. These are new construction in Seattle, so they don't have gas. They're all electric, very efficient. Seattle area is one of the leaders on energy efficiency and being green, things like that. So if you look behind me, you can see those split system units right there. That's going to handle your heating and your cooling. They're also inside. Most likely they're going to have some in-wall heaters in some of the side bedrooms or not in the main rooms. But in the main room, they're going to have AC and heat running off one unit. You've probably seen these before, the Mitsubishi units or something similar. And like I said, right behind me, you're seeing those air handlers. So this is really efficient. People really like this, much more cost effective compared to central heating and central AC. I also really like the way they did this. This is all one development, but they did 2 different styles. They really matched it up really well. These are beautiful, There's 5 units here, and they're ranging in square footage between about 1,000 and 1,400. These are starting at $950. So a little pricey on the pricey side, but this is what it costs to get into this neighborhood. If you wanted to buy an older home here, you might be able to find a teardown for $600-700. You'd have to do a lot of work to get it up to your standards. So something like this is completely turnkey, ready to go. Great stepping stone for someone looking to get into the Maple Leaf neighborhood. Really like these units. This is a really great area. You're about 3-minute walk from where we were earlier at the park. You got the baseball fields right here. We don't have any views here. We're kind of down on the bottom. We're not on the bottom of the hill, but we're down the hill a bit from where all the fantastic views are. But still, really sweet spot, really close to the bus. If you wanted to, you could walk to the light rail. You got easy access to I-5. You could literally be downtown in less than 20 minutes.
Driving through Maple Leaf here on 8th Avenue, you can see the traffic circles at each one of these intersections. This is to slow the traffic down, make it more walkable, make it safer for, people out traveling in the neighborhood. We're right between sort of the 2 main thoroughfares to get through Maple Leaf, which would be 5th Avenue and Roosevelt. So they put these up many years ago to slow them down. A lot of people would just whip around these streets, but now they got these traffic circles here. And, when you're driving through, they're kind of annoying, but when you're walking through, it makes a lot of sense. Also, once again, like pretty narrow streets, as you guys can see. If you're used to that suburban living, or coming from Vegas or Texas or somewhere with a lot of space where it's not used to being packed in, you might not like this. I had a client a few years ago, and this is a funny story. They came from Boston, or Boston area anyways, and I took them through Maple Leaf, took them through Finney Ridge, took them through a lot of these classic Seattle neighborhoods. And I was actually in a different vehicle that had a little more horsepower, and we were whipping around the streets, and they made the comment. They were like, wow, Aaron, you must really know these neighborhoods really well, because these are really narrow streets, and you're just whipping around these traffic circles like it's nothing. So kind of a funny story, but yeah, I mean, I definitely know these neighborhoods. I delivered papers around here when I was a kid. I've always kind of been into working for myself.
All right, we're coming up on our third house here. Technically, we're still in Maple Leaf according to the map, but for my taste, this is sort of getting on the edge of Maple Leaf. We're starting to transition into Northgate. You can see how this looks a little different, right? No sidewalks. We got a mix of housing styles. In the neighborhoods we were in before, it was mostly single family detached. Now we got a couple townhouses down here. We got single family over here. We got an apartment building, and then we're coming up right here on the row houses that we're going to be taking a look at. So still pretty nice little neighborhood, just kind of weird without the sidewalks. Not everybody's into that. My wife, definitely no-go for her, but it really depends on what you're into. Very walkable here. Got a couple restaurants up the street. Really famous Seattle place, Judy Foods, Snappy Dragon. If you're in this neighborhood, definitely stop by, get some jiaozi. Got to get your jiaozis. I usually get a 30-piece, and I've crushed that by myself before. So, nice little spot here. So we're coming up on these row houses. They've been building these in Seattle for about, 10, 15 years now. This is sort of a condo alternative. These units here are mostly 2-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,400 square feet. The asking price on this one right here is $825. So about $100K cheaper than the other ones we looked at. These are going to be move-in ready to go. Not going to need a lot of work here. Just a little bit of, maybe a little wear and tear, because these have been here for 5 or 10 years, right? Right off Roosevelt Ave, you got easy access to I-5. You're right down the street from the park. This is still walking distance. Everything you had down the street, you still got here. Just slightly different vibe, transitioning into the Northgate neighborhood. Okay, so we're coming up right on Roosevelt Way. This is one of the main streets through Maple Leaf. There's lots of businesses. This is where we started out earlier by the park. That's also on Roosevelt Way. So the park is just right up the street. All right, so we're wrapping up our tour of Maple Leaf. This is a neighborhood in North Seattle. Really key location, easy to get around from here, walkable, lots of stuff to do. This place is near and dear to me because I actually grew up in Maple Leaf. My parents still live down the street from here. I played baseball at the park, so I really like Maple Leaf. I think it's a really great location, and I want to share with you guys one more spot before we get out of here. So we're right in front of the Shambles. Definitely one of my favorite restaurants in Seattle. Almost certainly the best restaurant in Maple Leaf. They're only open for dinner. They don't do lunches. And you can't bring your kids here. It's 21 and over. So if you're looking for a date night or a night out, you got the babysitter, then stop by the Shambles. And if you guys want to meet in person, I like to come to the Shambles. So hit me up, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. We'll go grab a beer at the Shambles. If you're thinking about moving to Seattle, don't forget, give me a call, shoot me a text. I'll be here for you guys. Thanks for coming on the tour.